Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So let us see Pratish Prabhu. Whenever you're ready, you can start Prabhu. We'll start the sharing of the video.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, do you want me to start sharing the screen as well?
Yeah, Pratish Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji, I'm audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
My mic. I'm audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu, we can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay. Shall I start the screen sharing as well?
Yeah, I'm starting it, so you can start with prayers, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirite Mastu Prayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Amstike. Hare Krishna devotees. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, The Creative Impetus, Chapter 1, The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. We will read verse 1 to 10 today. Text 1. The king Parikshit inquired from Sukdev Goswami, O great sage, why did King Priyavrata, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma, fruitive activities, which which defeats the mission of human life? Text 2. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs. Text 3. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satisfied by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Text 4. The king continued, O great Brahmana, this is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children, and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? Text 5. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, what you have said is correct. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised in eloquent transcendental verses by such exalted personalities as Brahma, are very pleasing to great devotees and liberated person. One who is attached to the nectarian honey of the lotus or Lord's lotus feet, and whose mind is always absorbed in his glories, may sometimes be checked by some impediment, but he still never gives up the exalted position he has acquired. Text 6. Sukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, Prince Priyavrata was a great devotee because he sought the lotus feet of Narada, his spiritual master, and thus achieved the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge. With advanced knowledge, he always engaged in discussing spiritual subjects and did not divert his attention to anything else. The prince's father then asked him to take charge of ruling the world. He tried to convince Priyavrata that this was his duty as indicated in the revealed scriptures. Prince Priyavrata, however, was continuously practicing Bhakti Yoga by constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus engaging all his senses in the service of Lord. Therefore, although the order of his father could not be rejected, the prince did not welcome it. Thus, he very consistently raised the question of whether he might be diverted from devotional service by accepting the responsibility of ruling over the world. Text 7. Sri Sukdev Goswami continued. The first created being and most powerful demigod in this universe is Lord Brahma, who is always responsible for developing universal affairs. born directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He dedicates his activities to the welfare of the entire universe. For he knows the purpose of the universal creation. This supremely powerful Lord Brahma, accompanied by his associates and the personified Vedas, left his own abode in the highest planetary system and descended to the place of Prince Priyavrata's meditation. Text 8. As Lord Brahma descended on his carrier, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadhyaloka, and Charanloka are as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamandana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there. Text 9. Lord Brahma, the father of Narada Muni, is the supreme person within the universe. As soon as Narada saw the great swan, he could understand that Lord Brahma had arrived. Therefore, he immediately stood up along with Swayambhavu Manu and his son Priyavrata, whom Narada was instructing. Then they folded their hand and began to worship Lord Brahma with great respect. Text 10. My dear King Parikshit, because Lord Brahma had finally descended from Satyaloka to Bhuloka, Narada Muni, Prince Priyavrata, and Swambhu Manu came forward to offer him objects of worship and to praise him in highly qualified language according to Vedic etiquettes. At that time, Lord Brahma, the original person of this universe, felt compassion for Priyavrata and looking upon him with a smiling face, spoke to him as follows. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thanks so much, Prithvish Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So let me offer the prayers and then we can start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desutarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. It's a wonderful canto. Fifth canto is starting today, and fifth canto is amazing. Let me share my screen. I need to pull up the. I sent a picture in our WhatsApp group for Sadhana group that describes the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam and how they're prominently in the prominently situated in different cantos like that. So if you see, two things are there in this chart. One is on the left hand side, what are the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam and how they're prominently in each of the cantos. But again, it's only prominently because they're spread over all the cantos. For example, in fifth canto we are in, the prominent topic is sthana, or the maintenance of universe. Of course, the first part of the fifth canto, first half of the fifth canto up to 15th chapter is covering Visarga, a secondary creation of Lord Brahma also. What does Visarga include? Visarga include population of planets by living entities. So, because this canto includes uh, description of the descendants of Priyavrata, who is one of the son of Swayambhu Manu. So, it includes first part of fifth canto includes Visarga. And the next part, later part, includes the maintenance of the universe, how the structure of the universe vertically and horizontally like that. That is one thing I wanted to share from this chart. Second thing is, you see on the right hand side, from Padma Purana, there is a verse that describes how Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different than Supreme Lord Krishna himself. So first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are considered like lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Third and fourth that we completed are like the thighs of the Supreme Lord. And today we're starting on Canto 5, it is considered like navel of the Supreme Lord. And the prominent pastimes in this are Rishabhdev pastimes, Jadabharata pastimes, and then the structure of the universe, the different planetary systems like that. Those are the prominent pastimes in this canto. This is compiled by one devotee who's in Tampa, Florida, Shubhavilas Govinda Prabhu. Yeah? Okay, we'll pause there. And then now let's continue. So, what is the link between the fourth canto and fifth canto? If you remember, fourth canto ended with the Falasuti, obviously. That what is the benefit of hearing this Krishna Katha, where we understood we can ultimately go back to spiritual world like that. But just before the Falasruti, what we heard from Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj was the final description about the presentation is already in the group. If you're not in the group, you can reach out to me. I'll put my phone number in the chat for you. Let me see. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Then, so the fourth canto end, what we also heard was fourth canto, most of the later chapters of the fourth canto, right from Durmal pastime, was describing about the descendants of Swayambhu Manu. Specifically, Swayambhu Manu had two sons. One of the son was Uttanapada, another son was Priyavrata. So it's described, Maitreya Muni was eager to describe Dhruva Maharaj. That's why he started with Uttanapada. Actually, Priyavrata is the elder son. Uttanapada is the younger son. So the younger son, past descendants, Uttanapada descendants, we all heard in throughout the fourth canto. Now, he wants to continue. He mentioned in only one verse actually, that how Priyavrata was instructed by Narada Muni, and then he enjoyed family life, had so many sons, and then he gave up the family life and achieved perfection to Krishna, Supreme Lord. He went back to Krishna like that. In one verse is all described in short. So now Parishit Maharaj starts this canto. After hearing that one verse, he starts with questions. That's where this section is there. So this section is important in two ways: to understand the glories of bhakti, to understand how to practice bhakti and simultaneously engage in family life, and then to understand the glories of having a spiritual master guidance, and then glories of bhakti, how any impediments can come, still bhakti can continue like that. Those are the prominent aspects of this section, first 10 verses today. So let us go to the text one. Parishit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami in this verse. So he's saying, why did King Priyavrata, who is a self-realized devotee of the Lord, who is such a exalted devotee of the Lord, why did he engage in a household life? Because household life is usually cause of bondage. It's very hard because household life is opposite to spiritual life most of the time, because people become so attached like that. So, and household life defeats the mission of from life like that. First question he asked. So that is the same theme he's asking in the next verses. He builds upon the next verses also. So we'll discuss something from purport Prabhupada is sharing for us, for our benefit. First of all, Parishit Maharaj heard so much from Narada Muni, exalted devotee. That means, generally in Vedic culture, first a person is trained in Brahmacharya ashram. So Brahmachari. So Brahmachari, if he's trained in Brahmacharya ashram, majority, if they're perfectly trained, they usually become Naistika Brahmachari. That means throughout their life, they'll become stay Brahmachari. They don't marry anymore. But if sometimes somebody has an inclination to get married, then they take up the married life like that. So he's surprised, how come he was trained in Ashik Brahmachari, how come he took up Grostha life like that? That's the first question. Second thing is, why is he saying that household life is wrong, household life causes bondage, and household life defeats the mission of human life? Prabhupada is explaining that in the purport. He's saying, generally, not everyone, generally, many people who are engaged in household life, they don't consider it as an ashram for spiritual development. They consider it as an opportunity to enjoy sense gratification. So, because of that, they work hard to enjoy more, work hard more to enjoy more like that. So, they are in that continuous cycle. So, because of that, they will be bound by the reactions of the fruitive activity that they are performing in. That's the point Prabhupada explains in the purport. And why are they doing like that? Because they are in the state of forgetfulness of a real constitutional position, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are a servant of Krishna. They forgot that fact. So that's what Prabhupada refers to the term as Swarupa Vismriti. Vismriti means forgetfulness. Swarupa means original constitutional position. So that's what he's describing. And then Prabhupada also elaborates on the word used to describe Prevrata. Bhagavata Atmaramaha. Why is Atmarama means one who is self-satisfied. So Bhagavat Atmarama means one who is self-satisfied like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How come that is possible? Because karmis are engaged in satisfying the senses by fruitive activities, whereas jnanis are engaged in wanting to merge with the Supreme Brahman. Whereas devotees, they are satisfied by serving Supreme Lord. In fact, in the next few chapters, this one common theme we'll see. What is the mood of a karmi? What is the mood of gnani? What is the mood of devotee? Devotee's predominant mood is to serve, not to enjoy, not to get away from everything, but to engage in service of the Lord. We'll describe more about it as we progress. So, because a devotee is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, he is very much satisfied at the heart, at the soul level, in fact. So that is why he's called as Bhagavata Atmarama. That's why he's referred here like that. That means devotee is freed from all material desires. They only have one desire, which is to serve the Supreme Lord. So then, uh, the Prabhupada describes the word Parabhava. So that means defeated. When somebody is attached in family life, that means he's forgotten the relationship with the Lord. That's so he's defeated. And Prabhupada also quoting Prahlad Maharaj reference. He says, Atmapatam Grahamanda Kupam. Household life is like a dark well. Why? If somebody is very attached to the family, then they cannot practice spiritual life. So the point here is not that we should leave the family life. That's not the point. The point here is we should not be so much attached to family life that we forget about our ultimate goal of serving Krishna, ultimate goal of elevating our consciousness to spiritual world. So don't get into that forgetfulness. That is the point being made. We can continue the family life with appropriate detachment and engaging in devotion service simultaneously, nicely, as a high priority like that. That's what is being described in text one purport for us. So again, the question was, how come Priyavata, who was so much trained by Narada Muni, how did he get into family life? That is the question Parishit Maharaj asked in the first verse. Going to second verse. So now that question is elaborating. Parishit Maharaj, before Sukadeva Goswami speaks, he's saying devotees are actually liberated people, liberated persons. Therefore, how can they cannot possibly absorbed in family life, they cannot be fully attached in family life. Like that is describing. So, Prabhupada is elaborating the point, how come devotees cannot be absorbed in family life, attached in family life? Because when somebody engages in bhakti, they can understand the real position of themselves and the real position of Krishna also. When I understand the real position of myself as servant of Krishna, why would I try to enjoy something else? I will try to serve Krishna only. And that understanding is only possible by executing bhakti. So And by executing bhakti, one can experience the ananda or bliss that everybody is looking for, not by sense gratification, which is limited and temporary. So, Prabhupada's writing a purport, generally that's why attachment to family affairs and devotion service are incompatible together. So, then how do we engage in family life? By understanding that Krishna has given this family. So, it's our duty to take care of this family. And Krishna is very pleased when I take care of the family. How to take care of the family? By helping them to understand spirituality, by helping them to go one step closer towards Krishna. That's what makes Krishna happy. When we understand like that, then we can engage in devotion service. Yeah. And also continue family life also. Now, text number 3. Parishit Maharaj is continuing to elaborate. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of Krishna, they're fully satisfied, fully satiated. By what? By the shade of lotus feet, by the shade of the lotus feet of Krishna. And their consciousness cannot possibly attach to family members. So he still has the doubt. Prevata is such an elevated devotee, Paramahamsa devotee. How come he got attached to family life? It looks like. Please elaborate like that, is telling. Prabhupada writes in the purport, when somebody engages in devotion service, comes under the shade of the Lord, shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, they're never attracted by attachment towards family life. Because when by engaging in spiritual life, by engaging in service of Krishna, we all will experience a transcendental pleasure, a bliss of spiritual life. When we get the higher taste, then naturally we don't want any lower taste, lower pleasure, because we're already experiencing higher pleasure like that. So that is why Prabhupada is talking about that point here. That in Bhagavata, Param Drishtva Nivartate, that verse Prabhupada is quoting. So when somebody gets a higher taste, they leave the lower taste. That means when somebody comes to shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, they become detached from spiritual life, not leaving spiritual life, become detached from spiritual life. That means they don't have strong attachment to spiritual family life itself, like that. Now, text number 4. Parishit Maharaj is continuing. He's saying, this is my great doubt. How was it possible that King Priyapata became so attached to wife, children, and home? And so, first portion of the questions was, first 3 verses was, how come he's such a great Paramahamsa? How did he get attached to family life? That was first question. Second part of the question was, let us say he engaged in family life, then how could he become perfect? That's the other question he's asking. So, Prabhupada is elaborating the purport. Somebody is a Grihvrata who has taken a vow to execute family duties, has no chance to become Krishna conscious because most Grihsthas are engaged in sense gratification. Therefore, they gradually go down in material existence like that. So, the point is, Parikshit Maharaj is asking, is it possible somebody who is attached to family life to become perfect in Krishna consciousness? This is very helpful for us as practicing devotees who are in family life, most of us. It's helpful to understand how to engage in family life and still achieve perfection in Krishna consciousness. That's what Sukadeva Goswami will elaborate in the next set of verses now. So, Sukadeva Goswami is saying in the text number 5, what you said is correct. So, the glories of Krishna are very pleasing to great devotees. So, and liberated persons. When somebody gets attachment to hear the nectarian honey, to hear the glories of, to get absorbed in the glories of Krishna, number 1. And when somebody is attached to the nectarian honey of Krishna's lotus feet, serving Krishna like that, then they sometimes may get some obstacle in their path of devotion service. But that obstacle will not let them give up bhakti at all. They will continue in bhakti because they already got the higher taste. They already understood the higher taste of bhakti, higher taste of hearing Krishna Kada, higher taste of serving Krishna. So even some obstacles come, they don't leave bhakti like that is describing. So Prabhupada is emphasizing the purport some valuable lessons for us. One is that devotees' bhakti can never be stopped by anything due to time or due to past karma also. Only another thing is very important principle to remember, whatever bhakti, little or more that we perform, can never go away. Is for our eternal credit, all-time credit. This can never go away. Whatever abominable thing we do, it can never go away. That's one important thing. That's a motivating factor for us. So, so whatever bhakti we do, Krishna will make sure that is intact always. So now what will happen when obstacles come? Then obstacles come, bhakti will temporarily cover sometimes, or bhakti will temporarily be stopped by the devotee for some time, or for a long time sometimes, unfortunately. But the whatever bhakti they did will not go away. They'll continue from there next time, whenever they start again with devotee mercy. Number two, Prabhupada is giving from the purport from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary, two kinds of impediments will apparently seem that bhakti is stopped for some time. What are those? When we offend a Vaishnava, when we do Vaishnava aparadh, that means that's compared to mad elephant offense by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means when you offend a Vaishnava, is like a mad elephant that enters a garden. It can destroy the garden fully. Similarly, bhakti can be covered for a long time. Bhakti cannot be destroyed. Okay, bhakti can be covered for a long time. Bhakti can be stopped for a long time, like that. So, that one example of that is Dvivida. Dvivida Gorilla, we'll hear about him in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. If somebody has read Krishna book, you might have heard the past name of Dvivida. Dvivida is a gorilla demon. He was in Ramalila, was a nice devotee. He was serving Sugriva as a minister. But he advised Sugriva when Rama and Lakshmana came to meet Sugriva, he guided Sugriva as minister, saying that, oh, pay full attention to Rama. Don't worry about Lakshmana. Ignore him. Like that he told. That's an offense to Lakshmana. Lakshmana is representing Guru Tattva. He is Balaram himself, Lakshmana. So he said, we are actually meditating on Balaram because Balaram Happiness Day is coming soon also, August 19th, I believe. So Balaram kills Dvivida finally and liberates him also. So, such a Dvivida, because of his offense, what happens is he gets prone to association of demon. Narakasura was another demon. He got bad association and he got affected by bad association and he tries to offend Balaram and Balaram's set of gopis also. Then finally Balaram liberates him like that. So that is one impediment, offending a Vaishnava example. Another example is in the same 5th canto, in the 10th chapter, we'll see in Bharat Maharaj's life as a Jada Bharata, he will meet a king called Rahugana. King Rahugana offends Bharat Maharaj as Jada Bharata. So, but finally, by Bharat Maharaj's mercy, he gets instruction by the mercy of Jada Bharata, and then he gets delivered also. So now, there's another impediment, offending a Vaishnava. So we should be very, very careful because that can pause our bhakti for a long time. Or it can cause a lot of damage to our bhakti, how we practice it. But Krishna will eventually take care of that also, no problems. And the Lord's desire. Sometimes Lord wants to teach a lesson through his own pure devotee. For example, through Bharat Maharaj, he wants to teach us that example will come in the next few chapters, whereas Bharat Maharaj becomes attached to a deer and then he becomes born as a deer. So through that example, he is telling us to watch out our desires and attachments like that. And then through example of Priyavrata, we'll see that is giving the example of we should be obedient to superior because Priyavrata took up family life on the advice of Lord Brahma, Swayambhu Manu, his grandfather, and then also his father Swayambhu Manu, and also his teacher Narada Muni. So that's why he's teaching a lesson that we should be obedient to superiors like that, Krishna. Then sometimes Krishna also puts obstacles in the devotee life by his own desire to increase the prema of the devotee. Like the example of Jaya Vijaya will hear. We heard about in third canto already. Like Jaya Vijaya from Vaikuntha Loka come back as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha as in one of the lives in earthly planet. So that is happening to increase their attachment to Krishna again, to develop their prema, like Krishna prema. So those are the important lessons Prabhupada gives in the purport of this chapter, this verse. It's a nice verse for you to read also. Please read more. There are more points in the purport. So now text number 6 onwards, Sukadeva Goswami is continuing further. So in this verse, what did he say? That don't worry, devotee under any circumstances, because you already developed the taste for Supreme Lord, Bhakti, taste for Krishna Katha, taste for lotus feet of Krishna. So you will never go wrong. You will continue in Bhakti. Don't worry. And he will perfect his life. Like that he started telling. Now in text number 6, he tells, Sukadeva Goswami, Priyavrata was a great devotee. So he's starting the storyline. Priyavrata was a great devotee because he sought the lotus feet of Narada Muni. That's the important point. Because he accepted a wonderful bona fide guru, he is a great devotee. And then he achieved the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge also. So that's why he was always engaged in hearing Krishna Katha, sharing Krishna Katha only. He is not diverting his attention to anything else. But however, while he was doing like this in the forest, his father, Priyavrata's father, Swayambhumuni, came there. Why did he come there? Because at that time, remember in the fourth canto, we had the descendants of Uttanapada all the way till Prachetas. And then Prachetas had a son called Daksha. And Daksha went to do austerities before ruling the kingdom and creating Praja. So Daksha went for austerities for 5 manvantras. Till the beginning of 6th manvantara, he does austerities. So during that time, there's no qualified king. Then Swayambhu Manu, what he said is, okay, let me ask Priyavrata, who is in the forest now, let me ask him to come back and do ruling like that. That's why he came to convince Priyavrata to rule the kingdom. So now Priyavrata, naturally, because he was continuously practicing bhakti, he was fully engaged in bhakti, so he is doubtful. If I engage in kingdom and again, once somebody needs to be king, they need to have family also, they need to have queen. So they need to have children also to rule the kingdom next time. So then he was doubtful. Will it cause drawbacks for my bhakti? Is it favorable to my bhakti? Like that he is having doubts, it seems. So in the purport, Prabhupada indicates that even if a devotee engages in worldly affairs like ruling a kingdom or taking care of the family, then and he might even do that affectionately. He may take care of his wife with affectionate words. He might serve her affectionately. He might spend time with her affectionately. He might spend time with children affectionately. He might even play with them affectionately. But still, his bhakti will not go away. He will be fixed in bhakti, like that is describing the purport, Prabhupada. So that means it's possible for a devotee to continue family life in the mood of serving Krishna without becoming attached to family. So, yeah. So, devotee cannot forget Supreme Lord anytime, even by practicing family life. That's the point Prabhupada is writing in the purport. And he's giving the example of Krishna himself. Krishna has 16,000 wives, but he was not attracted or attached to any one of them too much. But he did his duties. Krishna himself did his duties like that. Similarly, devotees also can do that. Like that is describing. Now go into the next verse, 7th verse. Sukadeva Goswami continues that now when Priyavrata's father, Swayambhu Manu, came to convince him, Priyavrata has doubt, right? That time, Swayambhu Manu is there and Narada Muni's guru is also there. So now Lord Brahma comes from the Brahmaloka or Satyaloka in a swan carrier. When Lord Brahma comes, he doesn't come alone. He comes with personified Vedas also. And not only that, he is coming with the other associates also from higher planets is described. And he came to the Priyavrata place. Now, Prabhupada writes in the purport, let me see, such as Lord Brahma, Narada, Shiva, they're sometimes addressed as Bhagavan. Why? Because their purpose of preaching is same as purpose of Krishna himself. So they are engaged in the same purpose of Krishna, to bring everybody closer to Krishna. That's why sometimes they are referred as Bhagavan, as a representative, Prabhupada writes. So, and great personalities, they're always thinking about welfare of others. So they want to give the knowledge to others to come back to Krishna, like that. And then Prabhupada writes, there are two, Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga are two things described in the Vedic knowledge. Pravritti Marga means keep on enjoying sense gratification, but do it in a dharmic way by following the scriptural regulations, like that. And Nivritti Marga means don't worry about sense gratification. Focus on bhakti, like that. Reduce the sense gratification gradually, like that. So both are given in the Vedic knowledge Prabhupada is writing. So now Lord Brahma and Swayambhuvani came here because there is no responsible and qualified king. That's why they came to convince Priyaprata that it is important for him to rule the planet, because there is no qualified king right now, like that. So now Priyavrata may say, actually Vedas are telling that don't engage in sense gratification, engage in bhakti. That's why Brahma brought Vedas also with him, it seems, like that. So, and also Prabhupada writes a point that every demigod has his own abode, like that. So how Brahma has a Satyaloka, Chandra has a Chandraloka, Surya has a Suryaloka. And Bhagavata says if somebody worships the demigod, they only go to demigod planet, which is the material world. They will not go to Vaikuntha, they will not go to spiritual world. So text 8, when Brahma came like that with the swan carrier, Narad Muni, Swayambhu Manu, they all recognized, because swan carrier is specific for Lord Brahma. So they recognized him, and they also they got up and got ready to receive him. And Brahma came with other residents of other planets, like Siddhaloka planet residents, who have the power to travel from one planet to another planet by mystic powers, and Gandharva Loka residents, who are the wonderful musicians and singers. Like that, they also came along with him. And then this is a Vedic culture. When superiors come, we stand up when we are sitting. That's the minimum we can do. And then we speak some nice words. We offer them a seat to sit. We give them some water and some food to eat if we have, like that, and speak pleasingly. That's a guest reception. That's the way to receive saintly personalities also. So that's why they all got up, it's described. That's a Vedic etiquette. So now going to the next verse, text 9. Yeah, the text 9 is talking about how they got up and they folded their hands with respect to worship Lord Brahma with different objects of worship. Like that is described in text 9. And text 10 describes Priyavrata and Swayambhu Manu. Everybody came forward. They offered their obeisances to Lord Brahma, and they offered worship to Lord Brahma. How do you worship a saintly personality? By giving them a seat, by washing their lotus feet, and then by doing arti for them, like that. So then Lord Brahma felt compassion for Priyavrata, it seems. And then he was making a small smile and started to speak. What he speaks, we'll cover tomorrow. So, in the purport, Prabhupada writes 3 main points. One is the fact that Lord Brahma came from Satyaloka to this planet. That means matter is very, very serious. That's why he came to convince Priyavrata to rule the kingdom, like that. Number 1 point. Number 2 point, when we get the blessings of Vaishnava, we'll progress immensely in spiritual life. So we may do so many chanting nicely, hearing nicely, reading nicely, deity worship nicely. So many things we do, but we can progress a little bit. But we get the blessings of pure devotee, we can progress very, very quickly. That is the point Prabhupada is writing in the purport. That is the second theme Prabhupada is writing. Then the third theme Prabhupada is writing in the purport is why Lord Brahma was smiling compassionately. Because uh, sometimes grandfather and grandson fight with each other. So similarly, here Priyavata is very determined to do bhakti in the forest, not to get distracted with anything else. Whereas Brahma is very determined to get him to rule the kingdom because there's no other qualified king. So this competition is there. So I'll make you rule the kingdom. Like that is smiling, it seems nicely. That's what is described. But the point is, even though Brahma wants him to rule the kingdom, Brahma will bless him so that he doesn't get deviated from bhakti, even though he's engaging in family life, even though he's engaging in ruling the kingdom like that. So that's why Brahma actually has appreciation for Priyavata's determination and renunciation quality also, it seems. In fact, in Vedic culture, brahmachari training helps somebody to lead grihastha life nicely. Because once we have sense control and mind control and strong determination like a brahmachari, then grihastha life becomes easy. Because then we do right decisions, not just for enjoying only. We do the right decisions that will help ourselves and family to grow progressively towards Krishna like that. So that's the beauty of training in Vedic culture. So we can end here today. We'll continue tomorrow. So we heard today how Priyavata was, Parikshit Maharaj was asking question to Sukadeva Goswami, how come such a great Vaishnava, Priyavata Maharaj went back to family life? Generally people don't go. And then how come, even though he engaged in family life, how come he got perfected in spiritual life? That's how Parikshit Maharaj asked the questions. And Sukadeva Goswami started to describe, don't worry, when somebody experiences a taste of bhakti, bhakti can never be eliminated. Bhakti is eternal. So he will continue bhakti, even in any obstacle comes, doesn't matter. He'll continue bhakti, like that he was describing. Then he started to describe the narration, how Swayambhu Manu came to request him to rule the kingdom, and then Lord Brahma personally came to request him to rule the kingdom. That's where we pause for today. We'll continue tomorrow. What will Lord Brahma say to him like that? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much.